Now, as the war continues to escalate, there are fears, of course, of chemical warfare being used. We can speak to Colonel Hamish De Bretton-Gordon now. He's a former commander of UK and NATO chemical, biological and nuclear forces and a regular on the show. And we should say he's also the author of a book called How to Survive a Chemical or Biological Attack, which I believe, Hamish, is coming out today.
Yes, that's right. And thanks very much for the time to explain it. And I'll send you guys the link as soon as it's up, and hopefully you'll spread it around as much as possible. It's been published free on Amazon today. And the idea is for civilians in Ukraine to teach them how to survive a chemical or biological attack. It's actually the final chapter in my memoir, and fortuitously, it's a very simple guide that hopefully everybody will understand so that they can survive these dreadful attacks. A lot of what you do in a chemical or biological attack is counterintuitive. And that's why I've written it very straightforwardly with some simple steps to follow. Only this morning, we're hearing of an ammonia factory just north of Kyiv that's been bombed by the Russians. And this has potentially sent a very toxic cloud into the air, or could explode. Ammonia is the sort of main substance in fertilizer bombs, straight out of actually the ISIS, the jihadi playbook. They blew up many chemical factories in Iraq, killing many hundreds and injuring thousands of people. So I think this is a bit of an indicator from the Russians. And as we've discussed before, the Russians have threatened to use chemical weapons. And as they get more bogged down, from my experiences in Syria, the only way to quickly win battles in cities like Kiev or Mariupol are actually to use chemical weapons. And I think if the Russians continue to be stuck in these areas, they might well go to these dreadful weapons. And if civilians know what to do, then hopefully we'll see less casualties.
But I just want to ask, would any of us, Hamish, really want to survive a chemical or biological or indeed a nuclear attack? And what I'm talking about is, I mean, depending on the severity, what fallout is created in the surrounding territory. I mean, could you eat off the land? Would you ultimately just die of cancer and have a horrible death in some way? Why would you want to survive? Wouldn't it be better just to go when it hits?
Well, Eamon, certainly not. And this is the information I'm trying to get out. And I've been training journalists and NGOs solidly for the last 10 days to exactly take that thought out of people's minds. You know, however dreadful a chemical attack might sound, it is very survivable. In simple terms, as long as you know where the wind is, the chemicals blow away on the wind. If you get out of that, what we call downwind hazard, you will survive. I was with the Peshmerga in northern Iraq in 2017 when Islamic State fired chlorine mortars at us, and we managed to survive that fairly easily. So it's a question of knowing what to do. Even in a nuclear strike, I accept that if you're in the close vicinity of a nuclear strike, your chances of survival, are slim. But if you're not, and you know what to do, and you get out of the way of the blast, if you, as you say, you don't contaminate yourself with the fallout, you decontaminate yourself regularly, which might even be just taking your clothes off. Yes, certainly you can survive. And the other reason that the message I'm trying to get across to the Russians is that the Ukraine people know how to survive these dreadful weapons, so don't use them. It's wasting your time. It's another war crime. It's another nail in Putin's coffin in the International Criminal Court. So I'm hoping it'll persuade them not to use them. And if they are used, it'll give them a chance to survive. And we did this in Syria over 5 or 6 years. And, many thousands of people survived who would have died had they not known what to do.